looking for a breakthrough on Brexit. Boris Johnson is in Dublin making last-minute appeals to his Irish counterpart over the backstop, the insurance policy to avoid a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland after Brexit. For a man who last week had Britain on course for a no-deal Brexit, his message was more diplomatic.
I want to get a deal. Like you, I've looked carefully at no deal. I've assessed its consequences both for our country and yours. And yes, of course, we could do it. The UK could certainly get through it. But be in no doubt, that outcome would be a failure of statecraft for which we would all be responsible. Good morning.
Behind the smiles, there is tension. Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar says there will be no concessions on the Irish border issue, and Ireland would support an extension to the Brexit deadline.
The backstop continues to be a critical component of the withdrawal agreement, unless and until alternatives are found. But we are open to alternatives, but they must be realistic ones, legally binding and workable, and we haven't received such proposals to date.
Meanwhile, in Westminster, Jeremy Corbyn and other opposition leaders met to plan their next steps. On Monday, a bill designed to block a no-Brexit deal becomes law. MPs will then vote on government plans to trigger an early election, but that vote is expected to fail. Boris Johnson is then obliged to write to the EU asking for an extension if he can't present an acceptable deal to Parliament by October 19th. But the government says he will not request that extension. The Prime Minister is still promising to deliver Brexit by October 31st. He says he has ideas, but he has yet to share them with Parliament or the media.
We are heading towards a general election, probably not October, but November, and he's working through that prism. And I think actually the way the government are looking at it is if you look at the focus groups, how they're polling with the public when you get out of Westminster, a lot of people are behind Boris, and the way he's going to frame this is, look, I tried to keep to my promise, Parliament stopped me, therefore I was forced to go to an election.
Both sides are up against the clock. Parliament has just hours before it will be shut down for 5 weeks, while the Prime Minister has just 40 days to come up with a new Brexit deal, a deal that Brussels has yet to see. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera, London.